Thanks for joining the Real Mom Gang podcast, where 4 new moms bonded over their obsession with baby classes and keeping it real. Here's your hosts, Amanda, Chantel, Jenna, and Lauren.
Hi guys.
Hello. Good morning.
Can you believe this is episode 2?
So exciting.
How was all of your guys this morning? Lauren, it sounds like
it was a rough go this morning. So Chloe and I were doing swimming lessons. So did our swimming lessons this morning and got home. And usually after swimming, Chloe is exhausted. So she was ready for a nap. So fed her, put her down. And now, since she's able to pull herself up, I have to make sure she is completely out before she goes down, or else she is crawling around that crib like nothing. So she's out, so I decide to jump in the shower quick while she's napping. So get in the shower, and I have her monitor on just to keep an eye on her. And so I see her kind of fussing a bit, but I'm like, oh, she'll go back to sleep, right? And then the next thing I know, she is crawling around her crib. She starts to pull herself up to stand in her crib, which she doesn't have very good balance. So if she's standing, you never know when she might go tumbling down. So she goes to pull herself to stand. And then, watching her while I'm in the shower, conditioning my hair, the monitor decides to freeze, okay?
Oh, no.
So she is pulling herself halfway up. Monitor freezes. So I am jumping out of the shower, conditioner in my hair, rushing to her crib because I think she's fallen over or hit her head or climbing out of the crib. And so I am running through the house, naked, conditioner in my hair, to get to this little nugget who, when I go in her room, is just lying peacefully,
Oh my God.
ready to go back to sleep. So
That was your morning.
that was my morning. Yeah, and the monitor didn't go back to start working, so currently it's frozen with her pulling herself up in her crib. So couldn't go back in the shower to wash out the conditioner in my hair.
What did you do?
So we're just rolling with it today. Still conditioner in my hair today.
You're
Mine
lucky.
would be a grease ball.
It feels like a grease ball.
Mine
let me
would just
tell
be
ya.
like a heavy, sticky mess. Like, it would just not look good.
And then you're like running out of the house trying to get here.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't find the mic.
Yeah, so then because Chloe didn't nap, she wanted to play in her crib. She's screaming. I'm trying to find the mic on the way out the door. Talking to my husband, like, where did you put the mic? Because it's supposed to be on the table. And he goes, I decided to clean up and put it away.
Of all times.
Of all days, yeah. So we had a bit of a morning trying to get out of the house between monitor stopping working, conditioner in my hair, couldn't find the mic, she's screaming. So if you hear baby crying in the background, chances are it is probably mine. But we made it, so here we go.
Oh man, Chloe.
You never know what to expect for mom life.
Speaking of which, not knowing what to expect, how have you guys found things that you did not expect to go in your pregnancy?
Like during
I don't know if that was
pregnancy
a
or like after? Mine, I mean, I've got lots of people in my life that have had babies, and I've heard some stories about, you know, you get a little sore at the end, or like you have to pee. And I mean, I think I spoke on the last episode about my constant urge to pee, but what no one really prepared me for was like, and now when I think about it, like the baby's growing in your stomach, pushing your organs and stuff to the side. Obviously, things are going to be impacted down there, like literally impacted. I ended up near the end of my pregnancy getting pretty constipated. And I tried everything, prune juice, prunes, fresh prunes, candied prunes, like,
Oh, yeah.
all sorts of stuff. And it did actually end up helping. And I continued to eat them regularly for the rest of my pregnancy, but not before I ended up with hemorrhoids.
No.
It was
Tell us more.
Yeah. You know what? And honestly, I'm so vocal about this. I tell everybody because I wasn't told, and it totally threw me for a loop. It was like really emotional because it hurts. And when you're already, having to pee constantly, you can't sleep, your body's aching. I think it's something like, so my girlfriends that are pregnant now, I'm like, get some prunes, start eating them now. Like, you do not want this to happen. So what happened to me was once I got them, I couldn't sleep. I was up like nightly having baths at like 2 a.m.
Oh my God, me
with
too.
Epsom salts, like anything to like give my body some relief. Finally, my husband's like, we need to like do something about this. So the saint drove to the pharmacy and he asked the pharmacist, like, what can my wife use for this? She's like, and be safe with pregnancy. So he came home with like a suppository that you have to put up your bum or a cream. So I was like, I'm going to go with the cream. But I needed...
Please tell him he did. Please tell me he did it for you.
No. I was like, go away. Leave me alone with my cream. But
God,
it was
you don't
like
need to see
really
this.
sore. So I was like, I'm going to put on lots of cream. But while he was at the pharmacy, I went in the bath. So you know how when you got out of the bath, like your skin is kind of like your pores have opened up and it's kind of like soft and sensitive. Well, that
Ready
cream
to
went
absorb.
right in there. And it hurt so bad. I just started screaming. Just like that, Preston. Exactly. Just like that.
He knows your pain.
Yeah, it was burning
You make the sound
so
effect.
hard. So I'm still naked from like my bath. So I'm like running around the bedroom screaming. Jordan runs in, and I was like, I don't know what to do. It's burning. And I'm like, go get me an ice pack. So while he's going downstairs to get an ice pack, I like wipe off as much as I can. When he comes back into the bedroom, I'm like in the fetal position on the bed, like crying. And he hands me a frozen rice pack.
Rice pack?
A rice pack.
A rice pack. Okay. I will never look at rice packs the same
No,
way.
I'm
This
like,
is how you
okay.
cure hemorrhoids, by the way.
Yeah.
Rice pack.
Rice
Yeah.
pack. You know what? I was like, put that between my cheeks. I laid there and it felt so good. It was like instant relief. And then he just covered me up with a towel and he left the room and I like fell asleep.
With rice
With
packs
the rice,
between the
rice
cheeks.
pack between the cheeks.
Oh my God.
And then after that, I still used the cream, but it was like sparingly and not after a bath. But yeah, that's something I would suggest is if you are pregnant now or thinking of getting pregnant, drink lots of water, have prunes on hand, and maybe some of the Anusol in cream form, but don't use too much.
Sparingly.
Sparingly, yeah.
They should put that in
Follow
big
the
gold letters.
instructions.
Yeah, I know. I should read the instructions. I wonder. It probably said like just use a little bit.
I'm sure it doesn't say take a handful and
Press it on your butt.
Smear it on.
slather
I've
it
never
on.
had hemorrhoids, but I went like a week without pooping.
Oh.
Yeah, and I ate all the prunes and did all the water and did it all, laxatives, everything, and
nothing worked.
like a week it was so painful that I was almost crying because my stomach was just so, like it was so blocked up. And then finally when I did have to go, I was at work obviously, and there was
Oh
one
my
bathroom at work and it's open to like our whole office type thing, and it was
You're
kind of like
nobody
well,
wants to come in here
I
after
gotta
this
go.
pregnant lady's been in here.
Yeah, so that was brutal. But one thing, I didn't have the hemorrhoids, but I did have to wear the well, I didn't have to, but I bought the Depends to wear after I gave birth, which is, for anybody listening, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, I wish I thought about
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
it's the best.
I wore Depends for like a month.
Oh, I had a period last month and I put one back on.
Yes.
It was
Perfect.
it's just so comfortable and
How
it keeps
sexy.
everything. Yeah, like so one day after Preston was just born, a couple days later, I had one on and I was sleeping and Josh woke up. Josh is my husband, by the way, baby daddy, and woke up. I was sleeping and he woke up early to take care of the baby, and then a couple hours later he came up and was like, Preston keeps crying, I don't know what's wrong with him, like should go downstairs and check on him. So I went downstairs and saw him and I was like, he just needs skin to skin. So I ripped off my pajamas and showed off my nice diaper, which I never thought he would ever see me in because I wanted to keep the sexiness and
Romance alive.
yeah, exactly. And like the look on his face once he saw my diaper was just something I'll never forget. And then one time I was wearing it too, and he came and I had like my pants on, and he came in back of me and slapped my ass and was trying to be like, you know, like, ooh, baby. And,
Felt you had a
and then
diaper on.
it just sounded like a legit diaper.
Now you
And
know
he was
what to
like,
expect.
"Oh, we're still in that phase." Like this was a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
I just loved wearing them so much that I couldn't stop.
So
Even like
comfortable.
the light flow, just keep wearing the diaper.
Yeah, right?
And I know I did the padsicles. Chantal, did you do
Oh,
the
yeah.
padsicles?
I definitely did the padsicles, which is the best thing ever.
Explain what they are.
They are a lifesaver.
Yes.
For
I
any
agree.
pregnant lady out there, after you give birth, you want to have your freezer stocked.
Yes. Depending. If you have a C-section,
Oh, yeah.
probably will go to waste.
True.
If you have a vaginal birth,
Vaginal birth.
Vaginal birth.
Vaginal birth.
it's okay, guys.
Close. It's okay. You'll also understand the mom brain.
So my husband, for me, he made me like a stack full of padsicles. Basically what they are is just a regular maxi pad. We got the extra large ones just so...
Yeah.
The bigger the better.
The better. And basically you cover it in aloe vera. You can spray witch hazel on it. And you can add essential oils if you want, as they help just have a nice fresh smell. My husband made me just an army of them. And I know I
And then you
kept
put them
my
in the
vagina frozen solid for like a month. Because I was so
Your
sore.
vagina was frozen solid for a month?
I kept it frozen down there for like the entire month. As soon as my pad would like
Thaw.
thaw out, yeah, I would put one on and I'd be like, oh, thank God, like instant
It
relief.
felt so good.
Because I tore giving birth and I ended up getting
You
stitches.
had the
So I had a
third
third degree
Yeah.
tear
Oh.
and it was painful. Like afterwards, whenever I felt like my pad has thawed,
That's what it felt like.
I would sit down and it would just sting. Like it just
Yeah.
burned. It was awful. And I know like those padsicles were just a lifesaver. Best thing.
I also got this little container. They were just like little, you know, the makeup remover pads.
Oh,
They were like those, but they were soaked in witch hazel, and I got it actually off of Amazon. And I just had them by the bathroom too, and I would just like wipe with them too at the beginning or dab.
Yeah.
Dab gently.
A little dab will do ya.
I'm gonna tell you, like touching down there is like no go for
Yes.
at least 6 weeks.
Can
at
we please
least.
talk about how you looked at it?
Oh, God. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm gonna tell everyone this now.
Everyone's gonna know what her vagina looks like.
After you've given birth, things do not look the same down there, and do not look for at least a month. I'll say that for sure. Like, you might be tempted. People might say, like, don't look, but you're tempted and you do. Don't. You'll be scarred. So I took a look because I was just curious. Wanted to see what things look like down there after I gave birth to my daughter. And I took a look, and it was completely stretched out, like it's terrible. One side, for whatever reason, my left side, the lip was like 10 times longer than
I
the
don't
right
know why
side.
your lip stretched.
I don't know either. My sister's like, that shouldn't even happen. Are you sure it didn't look like that before?
Exactly. Was
And I
your
was
lip
like,
always
yes.
stretched?
No. It looked
We gotta
like
ask Eric.
Yes, ask Eric. It did not look like this. And for some reason, one side was like way longer than, like one lip was way longer than the other lip. And yeah, it was terrifying. And I was like, nope, this is not good. Like, I never expected my vagina to ever look like this. And I was like, I'm not letting my husband see this, look at it, touch it, anything, like not happening. Thank God it does kind of go back to normal after time, so...
It does go somewhat, but I don't think it
I heard
it doesn't
it never
go
goes
quite
back the
back to
same.
normal. I don't think it'll ever be
I
the
don't
same.
think so either. I know maybe if you do get stitched up, maybe ask for that extra stitch. Yeah. Just add a couple extra stitches. And,
Tighten everything up.
yeah,
down
tighten
there.
everything up. Maybe better than it was before.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I just had to.
we can edit this.
Chantel's daughter is sleeping in my son's crib, but she was just telling her lovely story about her vagina lips. And her baby woke up, so I just went to go up and check on her, and now I'm back.
But honestly, once you're a mom, all of these topics are totally norm. You talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Not
just the
shy,
usual.
not shy. I know after giving birth to Callie, I remember sitting in the hospital room just butt naked. People were coming in, bringing my food trays. I didn't even care to cover up. Didn't care about anything. I was just like, whatever. And I remember in my birth plan, I don't know if anyone made those. They just go to complete waste.
Yeah.
But in my birth plan, I specifically wrote that I did not want anyone to be there that wasn't necessary. So like besides like maybe one nurse and one doctor, that's it. My husband, that's it. People just ended up coming in the room in and out, and I just stopped caring basically. And I was like, hey, you know what? I don't care if students are in here. I don't care whoever is in here because I'm just naked. I don't care. I want this baby out of me. If you guys all want to watch for fun, do it. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. So I did have a student, and basically everything that I wrote in my birth plan, we did the complete opposite.
Oh, yeah.
So I said that I didn't want to do any means of induction. Mm-hmm. But after going a week over, you're going to want to be induced. So you get to the point where you're just tired, you're heavy, you haven't slept for like months. You just want that baby out.
Yeah.
So we did 3 different inductions because she did not take to the gel. She did not take to the balloon. She eventually, like, breaking my water, that really started my contractions.
Don't you wonder if you didn't do induction? Like, same with
When
me,
they
I did the
would've
induction when they would have came out.
Yeah.
Like, I probably
I'm
would still be
curious.
pregnant.
By the way,
Just you're
never
102
coming.
weeks pregnant.
Preston is 5 months now, so it'd be well overdue.
I'm pretty sure it'd be like a shriveled little grape at that time. You'd have no fluid in there whatsoever. What else didn't go to plan? Oh, I also said I didn't want to use any means to like help during labor. Like I didn't want to do forceps. I didn't want to do the vacuum, anything like that. But when they told me that my daughter's cord was wrapped around her neck,
I didn't know
and they
that.
needed her to get out as soon as possible, otherwise they would have had to do the C-section. I decided, do whatever means you need to do. So they decided to do vacuuming alongside with me pushing, and luckily we were able to get her out fast enough that they didn't have to do a C-section.
I think that is, for almost anybody I know, you go in with a plan, but you have to go in knowing
It's flexible.
it might go out the window in the first hour you're there. So, yes, you have an ideal, but at the same time, you have to know that when it comes down to it, you honestly, just like with Chantel and us as well, you do whatever is going to make it happen so that baby will get out of you.
Yeah. For me, I actually worded it as like, these are kind of like my wishes.
Yes.
But I also said like, if it has to do with mine or the baby's safety, I trust your judgment as a professional or whatever, but like, this is kind of like what I want to happen. But it's funny because they will, even if they read it, they're so busy, right? And they do so many births every day, and they're just like in and out. But we wanted to do delayed cord clamping. I don't know if you know what that is.
I've heard of
So as soon as they took him out and put him on me, they were like, okay, did you want Daddy to cut the cord, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I did, but we want to do delayed cord clamping. And I was like, I just had a baby. Like, it's a trauma. So I was a little bit kind of foggy, but Jordan was right there, and he's like, yeah, we do. And they're like, oh, okay, well, like, for how long? And I'm like, as long as I can. They're like, okay, so for like a minute. And I was like, well, let's go to a minute, and then let's go longer.
You're like, why am I telling you this?
Yeah.
You need to tell me
But
this.
I know they just want to get it done so they can move on to the next one and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know exactly how long it ended up being. It was a few minutes. And then Jordan got to cut the cord or whatever. But yeah, you do have to make sure that you do have an advocate there with you, because while they will, depending on the team you get, respect your wishes and stuff, it also is their job.
Yeah.
So they just want to get in, get it done, and move on. So it's nice to have someone there that knows what you want and your birth plan and why, so that they can advocate for you, because you might not be able to at that time.
All I wanted in the end, was my baby to be healthy, first of all.
Yeah.
But I was like, I am not doing this without an epidural. That was the only thing that I really wanted.
Yeah.
Which I did end up having, but I didn't end up even having a regular birth.
Yeah.
I had a C-section, which was not on my birth plan. But once I saw how big he was, 8. I was kind of like, maybe the C-section wasn't a bad idea. Because my vagina would probably be worse than Chantal's right now.
So since you did have the C-section, what was your like aftercare like
Healing
healing process? Like, was it what you expected?
Well, one of my girlfriends had a C-section, and she was saying that out in Europe and stuff, women actually pay for C-sections because I guess it's just like the recovery isn't as
it's different.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's still bad.
It's a major surgery.
Yeah, exactly. And she was telling me like, oh yeah, it's the way to go. I had a C-section and it's the way to go. And after I had it, I was like, oh my God, like it was really painful. And I was like, this is not fun.
No,
I wish that I had like a regular birth and stuff. And then they told you, oh, you can't drive for 6 weeks and you can't do this and you can't do that. And I was like driving by a week, cleaning my house, cooking meals. I'm not a type that can just lie down on the couch and just recover. Like I had to be up and doing things, but I didn't want to push it too much either.
Yeah.
But going for walks and now it's still what's the word for it? Numb. Like I can't feel.
Oh yeah.
Like where the incision is, it's completely numb.
I guess because they cut your nerves.
Yeah, exactly. I think it goes back. Some women say that it's like that forever, but some women say it goes back to normal. So, but yeah, considering like how big he was, I was really shocked, like the size of the incision, and it's so low. Yeah. That like your bikini could cover.
Right, yeah. I think they kind of, I don't know if they do that on purpose or that's where they do it in general, but I know it's pretty low. They make the incision
smaller, they don't cut you right open.
But at first it felt like literally like you were ripped apart. Like it's really painful.
And then are you able to hold him right away in the
well they said the most I can hold was him, just him, not him in a car seat, but of course, within the week, I was, for taking him for his walks, I had to put the car seat on the stroller or whatever. But, I was only supposed to be holding him, and kind of works to your advantage in a way, because then you just tell your hubby, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, and they can do everything around the house, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Put them to work.
Yeah, exactly. But then when it's like, you want to go shopping or something, it's like, oh, actually, no, I could do this. It's fine.
Yeah,
I can walk around for hours in the mall.
I feel way better today, but it's just an off day. This doesn't happen normally. Until you go to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know we've been talking a lot about mom fails, like, there's probably just little instances, but sometimes it's, your child hurts, like, Austin, when I was cutting his fingernails.
I did that
one
too.
One of the first times I cut him, and like it bled, and he like had a little cry at first, but like I was heartbroken. Like the fact that I made him cry and bleed. It was within like he was probably not even a month old, and I was devastated.
I had the same thing happen to me, and I actually tried to hide it from my husband. So I was clipping her nails, and I ended up getting the tip of her finger, and you don't notice because their nails and their skin is so soft, and I clipped and I got a bit of her finger, and she started screaming instantly. My husband comes running down the stairs, and he's like, oh my God, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh, she must be so tired. She's so out of it. She's just so crabby today. And then later I ended up telling him, and he was like, why didn't you just tell me? But he also banned me from using nail clippers. And that's why I didn't tell him.
So what do you use now?
I honestly take them as they're starting to rip a little, and I rip them.
Okay.
I know some moms as well. I've heard of them biting them and taking them off.
That's what I do.
I just don't use the clippers myself because I just find that it's too scary. Yeah, it's scary.
I think you can get these little buff pad things too. Yeah. So it's like I don't know what it would be.
You can also get like little mini nail files.
Yeah.
I use nail files on him, but it's just so much easier sometimes when he's sleeping, and I
can't
take
either.
his nail and I just go.
No,
nails
my sister bites her, or did bite her baby's nails too, and she was a nail biter when she was younger. Amanda was a nail biter when she was younger. So I wonder if that has to do with it.
Huh.
Maybe.
And same thing. The first time I cut Chloe's nails, same thing. I got her skin and it started to bleed. And as a mom, you feel so bad that you made your child bleed. And Chloe didn't really care. She was actually sleeping because that's the only time I'll cut her nails now is when she's sleeping. But I remember I cut her, it started to bleed, I started to cry. It was just like, oh, it's one of those experiences that you're just like, I don't know if I'll ever cut her nails again. I do now, but at the time you're like, I really failed. Like, it makes you feel really bad.
Like anxious every time.
But
I
then
go into it again.
I talked to my mom, and she was like, "Oh, I did exactly the same thing when I first brought you home from the hospital, and the first time I cut your nails, I cut your finger."
So it sounds like everybody.
So it's a normal thing.
Happens.
It's not a mom fail; it's a mom rite of passage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, don't give yourself too hard of a time. If it happens to you, it does happen.
It happens, yeah.
They do heal.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure
Okay?
they do.
I mean, don't take off a finger, but
Yeah, don't do it every time.
yeah, exactly. I know. Actually, this unreal, like, seriousness. A mom fail that I had about a few weeks ago. I was used to putting my daughter up on the couch just in her nursing pillow, and being able to just walk away for a second to put something away or put something down. But now that my daughter is 4 months, she's starting to roll and move a lot, and I made the mistake of propping her up on the couch and just turning around for a second, and the next thing I heard was just a thud. And I see and I look over, and she actually fell off the couch and ended up on the floor. I, of course, start bawling just as much as she was bawling, and I'm holding her and I'm rocking her. I finally got her to calm down. I nursed her a bit. My husband came down, and I'm bawling, and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, well, I have to bring Callie to emergency. Like, she fell off the couch. I'm not sure, like, if she's hurt or if anything happened. I just want to go to make sure she's okay. We ended up going to emergency. Everything checked out. She was fine. And actually, the nurse actually made me feel a little bit better. She said that it does happen. It happened to her. She actually had her second child in a bouncy chair on the table, and her child bounced herself off of the table onto the floor and fell over, but was still strapped into the bouncer.
Oh my gosh.
So at least I was like, okay, it does happen. Like, people make mistakes. I know that was like a huge mom fail, and I did feel so guilty. And I mean, like, now I'll be so careful.
You know what? You did everything you were supposed to do, though. Like, you followed your instinct to take her in and get her checked out. You know, things are going to happen as they get bigger, as they start moving around. And there's not much we can, you know, do about it besides trying to be, like, as safe as possible. But you're not used to her moving like that, you know?
Yeah, so that's just something to always be, like, worried about. Like, you might think when you have them on the change table, you're just going to turn around to, like, grab some socks or grab some lotion or whatever you want to grab. Just be careful, because once they start moving, they really start moving, and they can easily flip off of things, and it does happen. And I know me and my husband have talked about it before, and I still did it. But now I'm like, okay, I would never ever leave her on, like, an elevated surface by herself ever again.
Yeah, we've just straight up with Chloe, because she, as soon as she learned to be able to roll over from her back to her tummy, that is, like, she wants to do it as soon as you put her down. So we've just straight up stopped using the change table, because she'll just flip her way over, and it's like within a second she's gone back to tummy and is scooting around. So we're just kind of better to be on the safe side and just change her on the floor than have her up on the table. So it's crazy how quickly they like to flip and scoot and
how
move
quickly
around.
things
And
change. Like,
sure, yeah.
You know, at one point they were just like, they wouldn't move.
They're just a little blob.
blob,
You just like put them down and they stay in this little fetal position, and they're so cute.
Austin's found his feet, so like getting him to let go of his feet while I'm trying to change his diaper, and he's starting to do the twist too when you're, oh man.
Yeah. It's a whole new experience trying to change them or get them dressed when they're flipping. It's not a quick little, I'll get you in your onesie and your pants. It's like a 10-minute, like, you're fighting, they're flipping, you're trying to get the flip back over. It is an ordeal. Change time is like, okay, you're only getting one outfit today, because I don't want to have to do that again later.
And if it's not clean, oh well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that that's something that we should kind of share each week if we can. Things that are, you know, kind of considered mom fails, but that happen to us all. Because the more we like normalize, you know, talking about these little things, it, you know, brings awareness for people of things not to do. And also just to know, like, don't beat yourself up. Like, things happen and they're okay. And you know, life moves on. Thanks for listening to the Real Mom podcast. That's episode number 2 of season 1. You can follow us on Instagram at The Real Mom Gang, or listen to us on our website at therealmomgang.com, or search us for us on Spotify. We're listed in all of the podcasts there now. Tune in next week. We're going to have a special episode featuring our husbands. Who knows where this is going to go? The Real Mom Gang, out.